Hello everyone, and welcome to an all-new Friday Fail, bad wedding planning advice on the internet. I'm Jamie Chang, your destination wedding planning guru and designer of joy here at Mango Muse Events, and the creator of Passport to Joy, the step-by-step online wedding planning course for couples. Now, if you're new, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're an old friend, as always, welcome back. In our Friday Fail, I share one item, one topic from a wedding blog, forum, or website, and the bad advice associated, the fail. And then, most importantly, helpful professional advice you can use right now, today, in your wedding planning. Now, today, we are talking about your wedding schedule. And this bride writes, I need help with hair and makeup. My wedding is at 5 p.m. What time should I have my hair and makeup be done by? What is recommended? Additional notes. I'm not doing a first look, and the artists are only doing the bride. And then this was the advice that was given. My wedding is at 6, and I have hair and makeup scheduled for 1 to 3:30. And that's it. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear here that the advice is not so helpful. Doesn't really even answer her question at all. So today, we're gonna do something a little bit different and do kind of like a mini schedule session. Walk you through how to create your timing, how to think through your timing. Now, before we dive into that, I wanna first just mention that, creating a schedule, a wedding schedule, is not rocket science, but it's simultaneously not the easiest thing either. It can be very tricky, and mainly just because there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of variables involved that can influence the timing. And you need to make all these things work together so that it flows nicely, so that things go smoothly, and so that everyone's taken care of, from your vendors, to your guests, to yourselves. You want to make sure all those things work together. But you have to sort of keep in mind all those factors. And so the answer to this question, which is really just what time should hair and makeup be done, is it depends. And it's kind of the answer for many things when it comes to weddings, but it really depends because of all of these factors. But let's dive into what these factors are, and you can start sort of thinking through your timing and what makes sense. So the question once again is, what time should hair and makeup be done by? Okay, so one thing you want to think about is, what time are guests arriving? Another thing to think about are you getting ready on site, or are you getting ready somewhere else that's not the venue, which means you need to be transported to the venue. And there might be follow-up questions to this. Let's say you are being transported. How long does it take to get you from where you are to the venue? How many people are getting transported, etc. Another thing to think about is, are you doing photos beforehand? Now, you might not be doing a first look, like in this instance, but are you doing other photos? And if so, how many? Where are those photos taking place? Another thought to think through is your actual dress and or outfit. Is it tricky to put on? Does it take a long time? Or is it super easy? And then you also want to think through the timing for your photographer and or videographer. How many hours do you have for them, and what do you want captured? All of these things will play into your timing, and your answer to these questions will play into the timing and what makes sense for you. And there may be, once again, follow-up questions based off of the answers to your initial questions. But this is a good place to start, so you can think about sort of all the different pieces involved. Now, once you have some answers to these questions, what you want to start doing is figuring out the timing. And a great way I think that this, can be created, and it's sort of the easiest way too, is to start with your ceremony time and then work backwards. So what you want to be thinking about is, what happens before the ceremony, and then what happens before that, and then before that, and then before that. And you want to think about it logistically too, so that it all makes sense. So let's take this example, okay? So it's a 5 p.m. ceremony, which means guests are arriving at 4:30. And let's say this bride needs to get transported to the venue. So she wants to arrive before guests do, so let's say 4:15. And let's say it takes half an hour to get there. So she needs to leave by 3:45, which means she needs to be ready by 3:30 because things are always a little bit late, right? And she has to get dressed. So if she's ready by 3:30, let's say she has to get dressed by 3, which means hair and makeup needs to be done around 2:45, 3 o'clock. And this is assuming, obviously, that she's getting transported, that she's not doing photos, etc. And your schedule will be different based off of your factors. This is just an example to give you an idea of kind of how this could look. And just kind of a general rule of thumb to help you out too. If you're not doing a first look and you're potentially getting ready elsewhere or getting ready on site, either way, usually the time frame you want hair and makeup to be done by is, I'd say, somewhere between like 1 to 2 hours or so. And once again, very average, just depending on the factors that are involved in your case. Now, we talked through some tips here, right? And I think you can use a lot of these to just start thinking about the time frame for you. But if you really want to make sure your schedule is super buttoned up and taken care of and just ensure that it's smooth, you really want to get help from a wedding planner. I mean, just take a look at the advice that was given here, right? Super unhelpful. And in the 5 minutes we've spent, way more information, right? When you work with a planner, they have the knowledge, they have the experience, and they can guide you through this entire process and just make sure it's super buttoned up because you want to have a smooth wedding day and your schedule is a big part of that. And I know you want that. So you want to make sure that your schedule is super, super good. You want to make sure it makes sense. You want to make sure that it's thought through all the logistics. And so if you're struggling with it, if you're not sure, if you just don't know, get in touch with a wedding planner. They'll help you a ton with all this. And there are great wedding planners all across the country. I can help you one-on-one. It's what I do with all my clients. And then there's also Passport to Joy if you're planning your wedding on your own. There's a whole section on schedule creation in there too. It doesn't matter how you get help. Just get help. It'll make the process so much easier for you. It'll make schedule making so much easier and working with your vendors too. And then you won't have to resort to a forum or bad blog advice or some rando advice from your friend. Okay? If you liked today's video, hit the like button. Check out our other wedding planning videos for even more tips and hit the subscribe button to make sure you get all the new ones. And if you need help through the entire wedding planning process, check out my online program, Passport to Joy. You can find all the links below because you deserve to enjoy your engagement, no matter what your budget is. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!